this racket. The racket is called Donic, and it's the Perrson line racket, which I think Jorgen Perrson uses. So this is the racket. This is just the racket's cover. Okay, so that's around the cover. So let's just talk about the cover and its stats firstly. So it's made by Donic, which I've already said, and I think this is the racket that Jorgen Perrson uses, or it's his line of brand. Jorgen Perrson is a 5 times world champion and 9 times European champion, and it's sponsored by TTF, and it has 1.6 millimeter thick foam underneath the rubber. So let's now talk about the stats. So the speed and attack are a bit lacking, as they're both 50, but because it is 80 rated. Yeah, it's a level 500, meaning that it's meant mostly for control. So the level 500 is, let me just check. It's for advanced play with good ball control, which I think would fit me, as I would say a little bit better than average, but I want to learn more about the wondrous world of table tennis. Okay, so now I've taken off the covers, and now let's just review overall the racket. So this is the racket. This is the first side, second side, and this is the handle. So overall, this is the racket. Okay, so firstly, what I notice about this is its handle. Its handle is very, very soft. It's very, very comfortable. It's awesome. It's the handle, I would say, is the best part of this. And the grip tape is a bit weird. It's like a soft texture. I don't know how to explain it, and it feels hard. Very weird and softer, hard. And the only thing I don't like about this racket is the 1.6 millimeter foam. I think that this will give it like a wooden sound, and it'll be a bit stiff when playing, because the racket that I'm used to is a butterfly racket, and it has a very thick foam, which gives me more control over the racket. So with this, that's not it, but we'll see when we're playing the match if that's really a factor. Okay, so now I will be playing against the wall to roughly review it, and there will also be match footage a bit later in the video, so tune in. And yeah, I'm just gonna review it right now, but the table, the stats, full stats will be at the end of the video if you want. Okay, so now we'll just be practicing next to the wall, just to see how it feels, but my ending stats will be at the end of the video, so be sure to check that out. So I'm just going to play against the wall, and there will be a small time lapse. It's okay. Everybody starts off with no. You know how to block.
नहीं 17 पे शुरू किया था, 18 पे शुरू किया था, 16 हो गए 2 मिनट बाद।
So now we'll be playing a match in a club that I go to just to see this racket in action. So I will see this racket in action and then I will make my final decision. I already feel that there's I have some critique, but I will save it until the end of the video. Okay, so now I've just come back. So now I've just come back from my match. I was just fooling around, testing the racket overall. I played one match where I won last three against one of my friends. So now I'll be giving my complete critique of this racket. So first let's talk about the spin critique. So spin critique would be none actually. I think the spin was the best part about this racket, even though it says it's a 50. I felt like I could do more spin with this racket than other cheap rackets, but there was just one, I just had to get used to this racket because I've never played this, my first professional racket. I just need to get used to this racket and I'll probably get better at spinning. So I would give spin probably an 80 out of 100. Okay, now let's talk about the power aspect. So the power aspect, I think the power aspect I would say is good, but as I said before, it is there's barely any foam underneath this racket, and it almost feels like you're playing with just a racket of wood. So you whenever you hit, it makes a wooden sound and it feels really weird because I've never felt that with any other racket. I don't know if that's common with other professional rackets, but I don't know. It just felt weird in my hand, and I think, again, same point, I need to get used to these types of rackets. So now ball placement. Now this is the part which firstly, I would give the power aspect a 60 out of 100. So now the ball placement aspect. I think the ball placement was rated what? 80? The ball placement was rated 80. I think that is completely false. Because whenever I try to hit it right, it usually went in another direction and it just felt really weird. But that just may be because of my experience, or that may be for another reason. Either way, I just didn't like the feel of when you hit the racket. So ball placement, I would also say it's pretty low, like a 70, yeah, 70 spot on. But it just felt weird, but I'm sure I'll get used to it and play good. So overall, I would think that this racket is worth its price because it was only $13.50 and it's a level 500, so it's not a professional good racket. But I would say for an average player, you should either start off with a professional racket, or you should just stick to cheap rackets, and then once you get better, get an expensive racket. So that's my critique today. If you like the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.